All right,
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Y'all, welcome in here to Locker Room Sports Talk. Glad y'all could come by and hang out with me here just for a few minutes. It's a Tuesday night special kind of show. We go through some different topics and stuff. First of all, man, let's break down this daggone video right here. What an amazing home run derby we saw last night. If you didn't see it, 24-year-old St. Louis Cardinals, get to wear my St. Louis hat. Go Big Mac. Mark McGuire fan here. Breakout star walked right into the Lions Den in Philadelphia and absolutely silenced 43,000 screaming Philly fans. In the final round, local hero Kyle Schwabner put on this show and showed everybody how this is supposed to be done and what they were, supposed to be doing. This guy was supposed to be winning this thing. I mean, just hands down, okay? He's hitting bomb after bomb, and when Walker stopped and he stepped up for the final bonus round, he was stuck on 8. I mean, he needed 3 straight home runs just to tie with zero room for any kind of error. The kid went completely unconscious. He just didn't tie it. He blasted 4 straight home runs consecutively to even his final swing to finish it right off. Not only is he the first Cardinal franchise history to even win the Derby, but he has also walked away with $1 million check, which he only makes $750,000 on his salary, more than he's even going to make on the season. It's a massive statement made by baseball's biggest individual stage. Remember the name, because Jordan Walker, people, has officially arrived. Great guy. He's kind of, a little bit right there, maybe a little, he ain't got that Griffey left-handed swing, though. But if you kind of watch this, there's his folks. He ain't got that sweet swing, like Griffey had. But man, what a great accomplishment, man. Everybody coming by to pay. Zacho, what's going on, Big Daddy? Jeff, how you doing there, man? What a great home run derby that was. I had to talk about it, had to get it on there. It was. Yeah, you're going to have to get the PEDs back, I guess, start smashing. What up, Ben? What's going on? MLB should keep the format for the home run. Yeah, I know. I agree. I do. I like the same thing. No Hall of Fames. You're right, Jeff. You're correct. So let me see. I got to remove this off here. The next topic we got, I had to get that in there, man, because I love these guys, and I finally kind of get to wear my, St. Louis hat, and I'm fired up about it. So this is the next topic at hand. I sent this to Zach. Zach, you watch this. Coach this, and I've been a part of it, coach my son, Pee Wee football and this kind of stuff. So just watch this and just give me your honest reactions and tell me what y'all think. Cam Newton on How to Raise Men. These are 2 young boys here just tackling each other, goofing off, playing a little football there in the living room. So just a straight reaction, then we're going to get into some teams of the century.
Tackle him, Jelani. Don't hit him. You put your foot on his head because he keep hitting you. Go get it, Jelani.
I agree with it. And I'm going to tell you why. You ask any woman on this planet Earth what they dream guy is, and in no way, shape, form will that person be described as soft. In our innate nature as men, it's our job to protect. At 6 years old, 7 years old, their brains are morphing into what they deem is what a man's supposed to be. One thing that we have to normalize as parents is we want our children to see struggle sooner rather than later. Oh, I want my child to have a better life than me. You're raising a hope.
Explain struggle.
Everything's not given to them. I need to work for this. If you deem that your son got on the latest tennis shoes and he feel like that's his way of being accepted, that ain't it. You may understand the cost, but you don't understand the value of everything.
Correct. Okay. There it is. What do y'all think? Not to, make this a parenting class or nothing like that, but of course we got our son, things that he wanted and plenty of things that he needed and everything that he needed, I guess, and stuff that he wanted too. And, to have the nicest shoes and have all the cool stuff, that's great. But, showed him. It's not make him. I hate that word make. Show your kids how to mow grass and be part of the family, how to fold clothes and take out the garbage and make your bed every day and, be a productive part of the family. And, this right here has to do with football, and that's fine. So Cam's not, I don't think he's wrong in what he's saying there. In the football aspect, I coached a lot of the little ones for, a couple of years, and some kids, man, they just don't care. They just don't really like it at first. Now mine wound up, at first, most none of the kids like running, especially if you're a big kid. If you're a lineman, you're not going to like the running, and that's just kind of how it is. But just, I just enjoyed being around the young guys and loving on them. That was the number one thing. Just showing them love and care that they didn't get. Sometimes, where they were coming from, their situations, they didn't get a lot of love every day. And I enjoyed, loving on them and talking to them and being part of their lives. And they're all grown men now. They're all 24, 5, 6, 7 years old. Been to college. Some of them, 6, 7, 8 of them, been to college, played football or baseball. But it teaches them, to get up and to keep trying. And I like that about football. And from just firsthand value, I can tell you from my son's sake, when he was at college, he's talking about doing these projects he had to do as a team there at Wallace when he was doing the mechatronics programs. He said that, playing football helped him understand about being part of the team and that his way wasn't always right. And I think that being able to show that you can work with others well, those are good qualities to build leaders later. And what Cam's doing and showing there in that video, that's just, part of it. And, young guys playing football and putting on pads and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, but when they're really little like that, I don't think it's really important for them to just, I guess, be in pads and, be out there smacking people and stuff like that. I think it's really important for them to learn just how to get in a stance and how to do the right thing and get up and be able to fight back. And you know what I'm saying? I think that's the best. That's probably the best policy for me, because you do have to be careful at a young age, and because you don't want your kids to get hurt, right? You don't want them to get hurt. And that's the main thing. But I enjoyed him showing that and, kind of standing on business. And so, tell me what y'all think about it. Hit the comments. And I'm sharing this over on the page. That's what I'm doing here right now. So let's get into the main reason we got here. The main number one reason here. Let's just talk football. Man, dadgummit, it's been a while. It seems like it's been forever. Holy crap, man. It seems like it's been a decade since we've got to watch football. So let's talk about some college football and let's look at some old games, and we'll kind of go through this and spend a little time with some of them, and some of them we'll stop and talk about, and we'll hit the comments and all that stuff. So let's just hit the play button. Again, thank you guys for coming by. I hope you all are having a great day.
The Joel Klatts Show. I am Joel Klatts. This show is brought to you by Graduate by Hilton. We thank them for their support as always. We roll on here in the off season. We hope you are getting all set for college football. Today, a really fun episode. I'm going to have an all-century team. That's right. Since 2000, let's just build our best college football team in the last basically 25 years. Let's do it. I think it's going to be awesome. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in the offensive side into 11 personnel. Okay. That means 1 tight end, 1 back, 3 wide receivers. That's kind of the typical offensive personnel group that we use in college football right now. So that's what I wanted to do here. And then defensively we'll be in nickel. So we're going to have an extra defensive back in there, but here we go. I'm going to bring up candidates. Then I'm going to give you finalists, and then ultimately my pick at Joel Klatts Show here. I got guys like Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, Vince Young. You got Joe Burrow, Kyler. You got Lamar Jackson, RG3, Andrew Luck, Mariota, Lawrence.
There's a good list. All-century team quarterback finalist list. What do y'all think about that list? You got Cam Newton, Vince Young, Tim Tebow, Joe Burrow, Matt Leinart. I think it's a good list. And I don't agree with Joel Klatt. I react during the season, especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's kind of what I do during the week. I'll do some reaction to other sports guys and talk about some of the things they're talking about and give my opinion. And I want your opinion. That's what this is for. It's locker room talk, just dudes sitting around hanging out, talking ball. That's what we do. So this is a good list. And I don't agree with a lot of the stuff Joel does all the time, but I like this list.
It's Deshaun Watson, Matt Leinart, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. And here's the 5 that I finally sat on. And here's the deal. I basically came down to it, like, you kind of had to win a national championship, right? And I know that there were other national champions on this list, but you had to win a national championship. You got to carry your team at some point. You had to play, in some cases, for multiple national championships. So here's the finalist list. Cam Newton, he was unbelievable. Vince Young, Tim Tebow, Joe Burrow, and Matt Leinart. Now, listen, like I said, winning a title was important to me, and Matt played for 3 of them. So he makes that list. He also won a Heisman Trophy. Joe Burrow might have had the best single season that we've ever seen from a passer in 2019 with LSU, en route to a Heisman and a national championship. Tim Tebow's career was legendary. We know what type of leader and performer he was. Obviously, I talked about Cam, but the pick for me, guys, and I know this might be a little bit biased because I had to play against him. The pick is Vince Young. If I had one game and I had to get a quarterback from the last 25 years to go and play that game, my all-century quarterback is Vince Young. This guy was unbelievable. He went 30-2 as a starting quarterback. That undefeated season in 2005 for a national championship was remarkable. There were times when he had to put that team completely on his back. I think about a game that they were down at halftime at Oklahoma State. Got a quick story about that game. Mac Brown goes into the locker room. It's a small locker room there in Stillwater, and it's halftime, and he starts,
See that move? Let's see that move again. We got to watch. I love Vince Young. Watch this.
Goes into the locker room. It's a small locker room there in Stillwater.
You don't get this, no.
And it's halftime, and he starts kind of turning over tables, and he's going to get after the team because, again, they did not play well. They're ranked number 2 in the country. They're undefeated. This is kind of their dream season. Then might be going down the drain at this point. And Vince Young interrupts Mac Jones mid-tantrum in the halftime locker room and says, "Coach, what are you talking about? I got
Mac Brown, not Mac Jones.
This." Turns on music and proceeds to walk out in the third quarter and drive right down the field multiple times as they come back and win the game. And we know what he did against USC. USC failed on 4th down. He goes down. He puts it into the end zone. This guy was incredible. He's my all-century quarterback. I know there might be some debate, but I don't think I'm going to get a ton of pushback about that. Vince Young, I mean, come on, again, one game. You want one game, you've got to win.
There's a 30 for 30 out there on like that season, and it talks about the season before and kind of what happened and how it kind of breaks down leading up to that season. It's a really good watch. If you just like me, you just like college football, and that's what we're doing here today. Just watching some, it's a good documentary about him and the game and Coach Brown and some of the other guys on the team.
Who's your quarterback from the last 25 years? I think I'm taking Vince. All right, we move on to the running backs. This one is ridiculously tough. Bush, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, AP, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Darren McFadden, Maurice Clarett, Zeke, Donnell Pumphrey from San Diego State, Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, Darren Sproles, Monty Ball, and yet I've got to pick one of these guys. This is where I did not want to be in 11 personnel. And so I thought, you know what, let's get down to 3. And he mentioned Ingram and Derrick Henry, which are both deserving. I'm a little more, we're just talking raw football, mean mug football, mauler. It's Derrick Henry. It's Derrick Henry over McCaffrey. It's Derrick Henry. I'm going to say it. It's Derrick Henry over Peterson. And I loved it. And Andre Peterson, I watched him play all his college career. He's great. But, dude, that is too hard to pick. And he named a lot of good ones. Honestly, I mean, who y'all got? Derrick Henry's on my list over Christian McCaffrey. And listen, he can say what he wants to. He's better now than he was 4 or 5 years. He just hates Alabama. He's like most people, the media. They're sick of hearing about Alabama. They're sick of hearing about media. They're sick of hearing about recruiting. And they're sick of hearing about Alabama's playing for another national championship those years when they're playing Clemson back to back to back. So there's just a total refusal to even – and it's really stupid because you're taking away from the legitimacy of the game in general because you dislike a team because they win. That is kind of discredits your media card. I just picked Cam Newton. I'm not an Auburn fan,
but I'm not stupid. I can be honest. And that hate thing is where it bothers other teams and it hurts media profiles to me when you start trying to put together a list like this. Christian McCaffrey over Derrick Henry. He won the Heisman. Christian McCaffrey I liked him. He was good. He's not Derrick Henry. He'll never be Derrick Henry. It's not. They kind of even play different, run different stuff, and it's hard to get behind the list and nod your head and just go along with the list when you don't have Derrick Henry as an all-century running back. Are you joking? Not even your final three? Come on, man. I don't like that. I didn't say it. I didn't tell you. I didn't say Derrick Henry would have won. My list, Reggie's winning it. Are you kidding me? He's one of the most electric running backs to play the game in this past century. Guys, I'm telling you, and I'm glad he got his Heisman back, because him getting paid from some T-shirts and his mom getting a house has absolutely zero to do with his skills as a football player. Absolutely nothing to do with anything like that. I hated that, and I thought it was stupid the whole time. So, Derrick Henry's got to be final three. Come on, man. Come on.
My three finalists are Reggie Bush, Christian McCaffrey, and Adrian Peterson. And again, I get it. Some of you might be thinking to yourself, what in the world? How is Derrick Henry not on that list? Henry won a Heisman over McCaffrey. Yeah, but McCaffrey was so valuable. And he did things that Derrick couldn't do. And his seasons at Stanford were remarkable. Bush and Peterson speak for themselves. And so here's what's easy is to get it down to two. Even off of that big list, I got down to two really fast. Reggie Bush and Adrian Peterson. I'm a huge Reggie Bush guy. He was electric. He changed the game in so many ways. He
knocked out McCaffrey quick. He's got to be in the three, man. Just put him in the three.
Was one of the great seasons we've ever seen from a running back. He led the country in carries as a true freshman and ran for 1,900 yards. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable stuff. And yet, Reggie Bush wasn't on the field on fourth down against Texas to go for a three-peat. It's like, how can you be my all-century 11 personnel single running back if you aren't on the field for the most important snap in your team's history?
But was that his fault? Was he? Don't remind me. Was it Pete Carroll or was Reggie Bush the coach? I don't know.
And it's not his fault. You can make a strong argument.
Thank you for at least acknowledging that. So why would you bring it up? See, this stuff pees me off about Joel. Why would you even? Well, he wasn't even on the field. Why would you even bring that up? Just give your final three. And Henry not being on there, the list is not very valid to me. I don't care if McCaffrey could catch out of the backfield. Derrick Henry would run over Christian McCaffrey. Run over him.
Like, what is Pete Carroll doing? What is he doing? Why is Reggie not on the field? They went with Lindell White. With that carry, they got
Lindell White was great.
Field and scores. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. And it's very similar to my theory.
Either one of those two is not really a wrong pick, but I just don't agree.
About Vince Young, if you had one game.
This is a reaction video. I've never watched this. I seen it come up on his page, and I thought, I'll watch this. And I was like, let me do that with a show tomorrow, because this come out the other day.
You have a guy back there. You need him to tote the rock, 20, 25 times. Who you taking? AP. This dude ran as angry and as physical as anyone that we've ever seen.
See, Jeff, come
AP
back
was
Thursday or Sunday.
A do-it-all guy from day one as a true freshman. Now, Reggie had that remarkable season, but AP came in and, like I said, led the country in carries as a true freshman. 339 carries. He was third that year in college football, running the football with 1,900 yards. 26 carries per game. He averaged for his career 130 yards per game. That's remarkable. It's devastating that he had that foot injury. He had a collarbone injury, kind of slowed him down after that true run. I'm taking number 28.
Boy, look at that.
Adrian Peterson right there in the backfield with Vince Young. Can you imagine them running zone read back in the day? Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So AP is my all-century running back.
He's a dude, man. He was
I'm
great.
going to take three, so this becomes a lot easier. How about Johnson, Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Marvin Harrison, Jamar Chase, Jeremiah Smith? I mean, the list can be even longer than that. But here are my finalists.
Wow, we can't rate. Why would you have Jeremiah Smith on there? Dude's not even done. I think C.D. Morgan, that's at Bama now, the freshman, is going to be as good or better than Jeremiah Smith. I mean, if we just want to be honest. Okay. I watched Larry Fitzgerald play, and you know, Pitt wasn't getting a lot of attraction. Pitt wasn't getting, a lot of love and watch. I mean, let's just be honest, we wasn't all watching Larry Fitzgerald. He's a great player. Michael Crabtree, he had that great season when they beat, was it Texas? They beat Texas in that game where he caught the ball up the sideline in like, what year was that? Like 06, 07. And Devontae Smith, he had that catch as a freshman. You know, Tua hit him in the Georgia game. They, beat Georgia for the title, and Tua come in, got sacked, and then got up and then threw the dart down the field. But Julio, I mean, numbers wise, stat wise, he's great. I mean, he's great. Julio's name and recognition because he was part of that team with Greg and them that kind of, that Nick brought in. That was that special team that kind of put Bama back on the map, right? Julio's complete dominance in a game because remember his second year, man, he looked like Ryan Williams last year. Julio did not have a good year too. He didn't have a lot of yards. He didn't. And he was dropping a lot of balls. He dropped some balls in I remember some crucial games. And out of this group, man. Yeah, I know. But and we can't count their, NFL career. That wouldn't be fair because Julio had a great NFL career. Fitzgerald had a great, long NFL career. Julio, and, Devontae's still crawling and doing his thing. I don't know, man. God, Larry was good, man. To me, I could rule it down. Probably Julio and Larry would probably be, and to put a final three in there, I'm not putting a guy in there. It's Jeremiah Smith. Is he even a sophomore? Let's see. Oh, he's a sophomore. I thought he was going to be a junior. I don't. Why would you do that? Why would you put him on the list? He's still in college. He ain't even. We don't know enough. Like, could he win a Heisman? Sure. I like him. I think he's great. I think he had some missed moments this past year. He's fun to watch, and he kind of reminds you of Julio, how he can just take the ball from people. But there's going to be a guy coming on the scene. If we're just going to talk about college, because none of these guys are in college except for Smith. All these guys have moved on. C.D. Morgan is going to be a name to remember. So final three, I can't put in Smith. He's still in college. So give me Julio and Crabtree and Fitzgerald. And I know Matt Smith won the Heisman, and the Slim Reaper, man, is the Slim Reaper, Zach. He's the Slim Reaper. And he could catch a ball and get it gone. But that's pretty tough, man. That is tough.
5 finalists for 3 spots are Larry Fitzgerald at Pitt, Devontae Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama, Michael Crabtree, 2-time Biletnikoff Award winner, Julio Jones, just an absolute freak, and Jeremiah Smith. Now, I know some people might want Calvin Johnson on this list, but I think I hit the nail on the head with this one.
No.
I mean, you've got great individual seasons. You've got
you can't put Smith. He's still in college.
The physical presence of a guy like Julio Jones, and I can take 3 of these guys. So here's where we're going to land. Here are my 3 picks. For the All-Century team, Larry Fitzgerald at Pitt, Michael Crabtree at Texas Tech, and Julio Jones at Alabama.
Yeah, that's the same ones I picked.
I think that's where I'm going, and who's telling me otherwise? I can put Larry in the slot. Crabtree was incredible. Julio is just an absolute boss on the outside. Does anyone remember who Larry Fitzgerald's quarterback was? Honestly, leave a comment down below right now. and don't listen to what I'm about to say. Rod Rutherford. Anyone remember that name?
No.
I don't. I work in the sport. Rod Rutherford? I had to look that up, and I'm like, wait a second. You mean to tell me that he was Larry Fitzgerald with Rod Rutherford at Pitt? I mean, that's a no-brainer. That was my first one.
Julio
if I could
had
take
Greg.
one, it would be Larry Fitzgerald. Then you think about Crabtree. Crabtree was insane. He had one of the great seasons in all of college football history.
Who was it? Wasn't Mahomes
against Texas in that game when both?
Yeah, that's the game I was talking about. Wasn't Mahomes Crabtree's quarterback, Zach? Am I right? No, Mahomes was after, I think. Graham Harrell, yeah. That's 10 Red Raiders. Michael Crabtree enters 2000. Crabtree's career 07 to 08. Okay.
Those teams were undefeated was insane. The route out on the right side, if you're watching YouTube, you're seeing it right now, right down the right sideline. He is double covered. He snatches it out of the air, breaks a tackle, runs in.
I remember watching that game.
Loose in Lubbock. Crabtree was insane. He was a Triple Crown winner that year. By the way, he was just a redshirt freshman. Redshirt freshman back in the day. That was your first year. I forgot about that. Now you get, I don't even know what you get. You get like 4 games and you get all this other extra time. Crabtree didn't have that. The catch against Texas puts him on the list. 3rd greatest season in college football history, Triple Crown winner. And then Julio Jones. I know that the numbers might not support that.
I said that. His stats were great.
Like a Devontae Smith.
His physical presence
has done over the last couple of years in his first 2 in college football.
You just take the ball away from people.
He was doing this for a team that was primarily run-oriented in an era in which the SEC was absolutely loaded. I mean, a lot of the defensive backs that I'm going to talk about later in this show were from the SEC in this era, and he was an absolute boss. I don't think I can go wrong with Julio Jones out there. My 3 wide receivers. So I got Vince Young throwing the football to Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Crabtree, and Julio Jones with AP in the backfield. I mean, who's stopping that? Who's stopping that? I think we could beat most NFL teams with this group. I love that list, man. Give me those 3 guys. Oh, we're going to be doing some serious damage. All right, tight end. We get 1 tight end. This one was the easiest pick by a wide margin, even though there's some good players. Hockey, Gronk. List of 3. I'm taking one of these 3. Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers, and Tyler Warren. I think we forget how dominant Tyler Warren was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was
everything
okay.
To that Penn State team that ended up going to the national semifinal. Bowers, of course, won the Mackey twice.
Man, Kyle Pitts was money.
I think the best tight end I've ever seen, and Pitts was an animal at Florida. But again, this pick was very easy for me. If I'm taking one tight end, you only going to give me one. Give me Brock Bowers.
Yeah, that's
2-time national champ, 2-time Mackey Award winner. And by the way, if he doesn't make a couple of insane plays, they don't win the second national championship because they don't beat Ohio State in that semifinal. People forget what he was able to do. There was, I believe it was a 4th down play. I'm almost certain it was a 4th down play, and he's on the sideline reaching for the pylon. Insane player, insane speed, great hands. Brock Bowers, I think that's an easy selection. He's going to be my tight end in 11 personnel. Now we get up front to the big guys, the big uglies, offensive tackle. Taking a couple of these guys. Finalists for me, Bryant McKinney at Miami, Joe Thomas at Wisconsin, Penei Sewell at Oregon, Jake Long at Michigan, and Tristan Wirfs at Iowa. I mean, that's a damn good list, guys. I mean, let's go. If I can play behind that offensive line, you're going to stick Vince Young and Adrian Peterson behind this offensive line. My pick, though, and again, this was the second easiest pick for me after Brock Bowers, is Bryant McKinney and Joe Thomas. I mean, these guys... Brian McKinney was an absolute animal. McKinney was a monster in that 2001 season.
Oh, okay. So
he's the last offensive lineman to finish in the top 10 in Heisman voting.
He finished in the Heisman voting. McKinney, that team was so loaded. I don't think a lot of people probably wouldn't a lot of talk about their offensive lineman. He probably got a little overshadowed because of all the dudes on that team.
By the way, yes, that absolutely happened. Joe Thomas, he won the Outland for the Badgers.
Yeah.
I tried not to think of NFL careers, but man, isn't it difficult, right? Like you kind of have to, right? At some point. Joe Thomas was incredible. So Joe Thomas and Bryant McKinney are my bookend tackles on the offensive line for my all-century team. Guards. Here are the finalists at guard. Quentin Nelson at Notre Dame, Zach Martin at Notre Dame, Chance Warmack at Alabama, and David DeCastro at Stanford. I think people forget
I don't know
about David DeCastro.
No.
And you know what?
I'm
not forgetting. Do we remember how dominant that Stanford team was running the football? Using all those gap schemes. Gap schemes meaning you're blocking down on one side, pulling a guard. This DeCastro was incredible. He's one of my guards. David DeCastro at Stanford. He was a huge reason why Harbaugh became Harbaugh at Stanford. Remember Toby Gerhard? Remember these guys? Man, they could run it. They could absolutely run the football, and they did not care how many people you put in the defensive front seven. Castro was a big reason why. And then my second one, this one was a little bit more difficult. I wanted to go Chance Warmack. I ended up going Quentin Nelson here from Notre Dame, two-time All-American at Notre Dame. I just don't think you can go wrong with Quentin Nelson and David DeCastro and at your guards. Now I've got Brian McKinney and Joe Thomas. I've got Quentin Nelson and David DeCastro. Yeah, let's go. We're going to run the rock. And by the way, we're throwing it to those three wide receivers. That's pretty darn good. At center, my finalists at center are Barrett Jones at Bama, Tyler Linderbaum at Iowa, and Landon Dickerson.
Give me Barrett Jones all day.
I
don't care.
Other positions
say
as well,
whatever.
But those are my three finalists. My pick is Barrett Jones. Barrett Jones did everything for those Bama teams in the early 2010s.
He played guard and tackle.
Center,
yeah.
Won the Outland at left tackle
in
2011. Then won the Remington at center in 2012.
Amazing.
His versatility was insane.
Amazing.
Barrett Jones is my center. He's a smart player. I want him in there. He can orchestrate everything in between all of those monsters next to him. I love my offensive line. And again, leave a comment down below. What do you think of this offense so far? Not done yet. Not done yet. Because you know why? On all of these, all conference teams and everything like that, we've got to have athletes. So I'm going to have a position here for athletes. My candidates at athlete, Percy Harvin, DeAnthony Thomas, insane. Tavon Austin, Adoree Jackson, Jabril Peppers, Darren Sproles, Curtis Samuel, Travis Hunter. But my three finalists are going to be Percy, Hunter, and Austin.
Well, I'm telling you, and, everybody, is not old as me and got to see Tavon. If you ain't never seen Tavon Austin clips, Travis Hunter's cool. He's not in this for me. You skip him. I could have put in two or three other guys before him. Percy Harvin was unstoppable. Kickoff, punt, return, awesome athlete. Him and Tavon Austin are Malachi Toney at Miami. Malachi Toney he'll be on. I don't know how you couldn't even mention him because he's a freshman on a team that played for national championship that helped that team win some games that they may not have even been in if it wasn't for Tony. I mean, if I had to pick one, I'm taking Tavon. And I like Percy Harvin, man. I followed him in the pros. Bro, please, God, if you ain't never seen Tavon Austin, just type in Tavon Austin highlights. He is a highlight reel.
I think we forget that Tavon Austin switched in the middle of the week from wide receiver to running back, then played Oklahoma against Mike Stoops' defense.
Freak athlete, I'm telling you.
Bob Stoops is the head coach, and ran for over 300 yards. I called that game. Can't get it out of my head. He's for sure a finalist. And when you're talking about athlete, I don't know if there's a better athlete in the history of college football in terms of a two-way star than Travis Hunter, but my pick is going to be Percy. Here's the deal. Sometimes you just got to trust the smart people in the room. And Urban Meyer won multiple national championships as a head coach. He's widely considered one of the great head coaches we've had in the history of the sport. And I agree with that. Now I get the pleasure of working with Urban. And Urban has said to me many times, point blank, Percy Harvin was the best football player he ever coached. My team, and Percy Harvin is going to be my athlete. So now we can get into a lot of different personnel groups. We can give it to Percy on the jet sweep. Nobody is stopping that offense for this century to average 50 rushing yards and 50 receiving yards for his career. Is unreal. I don't know if you can pick anybody else. I really don't.
Tavon Austin,
I'm sure somebody's mad. I'm sure of it. Please leave a comment down below. What do you think of the offense for the All-Century team? Now we move on to defense. All right. I'm going to take 4 defensive linemen. I'm going to break this up into maybe the toughest position group outside of running back to select Julius Peppers and Nick. 2 guys on the edge. Here's my finalists. I know you're going to disagree with some of these. Here's my finalists. My 5 finalists, 2 of them getting selected. Terrell Suggs at Arizona State, Jadeveon Clowney at South Carolina, Myles Garrett at Texas A&M, Aiden Hutchinson at Michigan, and Will Anderson at Alabama.
Okay. Oh, man. Suggs was great. Clowney had a good, I don't want to say he had a great college career. Anderson may have had a better college career. I thought Hutchinson shrank in like the title game or I remember watching games like, I don't know, I'll say the wrong game and people are like, you idiot. I don't remember if it was the Penn State game or there was a game or two cup in the season and like you just didn't hear from him. Like he would have like one tackle. I don't know. He would not be he wouldn't. I could put him on the finalist list. Sure, that's fine. Clowney and Hutchinson will be out. If I'm picking three, I'm taking Suggs and Myles Garrett is. I ain't got to tell you about Will Anderson. We cover them pretty close. Myles Garrett is still. He's a problem. He's going to over, through, under. He's going to be like the skit we took in English class. Like, what can the squirrel do to the log? What is a preposition? Over, under, through, in, out. Myles Garrett was great. I could dump Hutchinson and Clowney. I could take Terrell and Myles and Will.
Man, these dudes are incredible. I know that Clowney has the iconic hit against Michigan. Garrett, as we all know now, is an absolute freak. Yeah. Hutchinson brought Michigan back, beat that Ohio State team, dominated Ohio State in that game. He had 3 sacks. I think he had something like 15 pressures in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But here are my picks. Terrell Suggs at Arizona State, Will Anderson at Alabama. Yes, absolutely.
I can go
these two
that.
guys. Does anybody remember Terrell Suggs' season in 2002? Anybody? Animal. 24 sacks, 31 tackles for loss, both FBS records. The tackle for loss mark is now held by the other guy, by the way, Will Anderson.
Yeah, I remember finding him by accident. I was turning through some games. I remember one night. This is, and because I was working a lot then. I remember working at sock mills, and I would work. Sometimes I'd have to work first and second. And I remember a Saturday, somehow radio or something, and they had on like one of their games or something for some reason. I have no idea why. And they kept talking about this guy. So, like, the next day, I go home and watch them play, and I find them, on TV. This dude is it's killing everybody.
Suggs had 4 games with at least 3 sacks that year, and the crazy game was against Washington. 4.5 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss.
Most people here don't know because they play, he played out west, and they wasn't on TV a whole lot anyway, especially, back then. There wasn't like ESPN 7, there wasn't all this online stuff. This was in 2002. If he would have been playing today, he would have been more known. But man, he broke all these records at 31.5 tackles for loss. Not just tackles, talking about tackles for loss. Absolute freak show.
The dude was insane. He was fast. He was strong. He was everything for that Sun Devil defense. And then Will Anderson. I mean, when Nick Saban says that he's kind of the alpha of all the alphas that he's had at Alabama, then I listen. 34.5 sacks, 62 tackles for loss in 3 seasons in the SEC, in that era of the SEC.
And the championship game against Notre Dame.
He had an insane sophomore year, 17.5 sacks, 34.5 tackles for loss. That now is the FBS record, passing Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
He had to be the pick here on the edge. Suggs and Anderson, my edge defenders on the all-century team.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
This list is also insane. Fork, Jonathan Allen, Quinnen Williams, Jalen Carter, Tommy Harris, Glenn Dorsey.
See how Alabama's in every position. Bama's got somebody in there. Ain't that crazy how all these recruits, Saban brought in? It's amazing.
Mason Graham, sneaky, loaded. Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, Vince Wilfork, Tommy Harris, and Glenn Dorsey.
Okay. Everybody's not going to remember Vince Wilfork. I'm just going to tell you right now. Aaron Donald is I wouldn't want to walk up on him anywhere in a dark alley or right in the middle of broad daylight, middle of the street. These men, because Will Fork and Dorsey, I know, are from some older teams. I don't know about Tommy Harris, but those guys, these are mean humans. They're like they wake up and like grind bricks and like pour gunpowder in it and eat it. I mean, they're even watching interviews, they're real serious. I mean, there's not a lot of they're like gladiators or something. Like they were born to just grab people and pull their arms out. These guys here are mean people.
So I think people forget how dominant Tommy Harris was. I had to play against him, but that's not going to carry the.
See, and Joel was at Colorado like in the mid '90s or so. So I don't remember Tommy Harris.
Day here, Vince Wilfork was an animal. I mean, he was insane. That defense for Miami was one of the great defenses that we've ever seen in college football history. And then Glenn Dorsey dominated the line of scrimmage. And again, the era of the SEC that was just ripe with talent. All the best players in the country were down in the SEC at the time, and Glenn Dorsey owned the line of scrimmage. But my picks, if I had 2 tackles and I had that list.
Oh, it's Sue and Donald. Those guys they just eat thunder and crap lightning.
It's Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Sue in 2009, shall I say.
They just mauled people. I mean, if they did what they did on the field, probably like out in public to people, you call the law to them, man. I mean, these are mean people.
Was insane. He finished 4th in the Heisman voting.
Yes.
He had 12 sacks and 20 and a half TFLs. As a tackle, I'm like as dominant as any player I've ever seen. I had just been kind of given the opportunity to start calling college football.
He just kind of the way he played is like his life mission is to just cause pain.
Football games. I remember I called an Ndamukong Suh game. They played at what was it? Kansas State against Josh Freeman. Anyone remember that? And I just walked away from that game thinking to myself, I've never seen anything like that. Never. His power was head and shoulders above everybody else on the field. He almost beat that Texas team that wound up winning that Big 12 championship.
Yeah, remember sacking Colt McCoy and like, he threw the ball out of bounds and they put a second back on the clock so they could win the game. Or Alabama could have possibly played Nebraska for the title. I remember studying that one time, and I don't remember if it had been Nebraska because they were going to beat Texas. They had them beat, man. He was just throwing people around like rag dolls.
Game and going and playing Alabama for the national title. I can't believe Colt McCoy didn't get hurt against Ndamukong Suh. Ended up getting hurt against Bama. And then Aaron Donald holds the FBS career record for TFLs with 66.
And he may be coming back.
Tackle. Like, come on. And we know
he
what
may
he
be
was
coming
in the
back.
NFL, but he was that.
He was at the Rams. He was at the Rams camp. He was at the Rams camp this week.
I tell you, man, these two guys, that defense, I think the only offense ever created that could move the ball on this defense is the offense that I just created in the All-Century team. This All-Century team is so fun.
Yeah, you need like some real dudes, like offensive linemen, and like some Reggie Bushes and Derrick Henry type people to try to run around Aaron Donald, Ndamukong Suh.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Crazy.
I love talking about these older players. All right, linebackers. I'm going to take 2. Here are some of the candidates. Got guys like Derek Johnson. He was incredible. Luke Kuechly, James Laurinaitis, Manti Te'o, Patrick Willis, A.J. Hawk.
Te'o, no. It wasn't good. Stop propping the guy up. They played one tough game against USC, and they really lost the game. He didn't even get in at the goal line. They shouldn't have even won that game. Not a fan of him. Nice guy. Seen him do plenty of interviews. He is not a great football player. He's not on my all-century nothing.
Roquan Smith, Micah Parsons, right? Like killers. Great linebackers. Absolutely great linebackers. Here's my finalists, though. Here are my 5. I'm going to take 2. Luke Kuechly at Boston College, Micah Parsons at Penn State, Manti Te'o.
Dante Hightower, not on the list, is crazy. Te'o over Hightower? You're crazy. You're insane. You're crazy. Roquan Smith, yes. Luke Kuechly, yeah, you can. I watched him play a little college. They played a terrible crap schedule. They didn't play nobody. Man, Hightower was dominating real dogs, dudes. Now, Kuechly had a great NFL career, and I guess if you're going to, put that in there, Michael Parsons is great too. But for Dante Hightower not to be in there, crazy. This is another one of those things like you did a while ago. That's not real valid. All-time century linebacker and Dante Hightower's not on there. That badass LSU team was supposed to beat everybody. Didn't even make it across the 50-yard line because of Hightower.
At Notre Dame, Derek Johnson at Texas, and Roquan Smith at Georgia. How do you do
No way how you put Taya on there over Hightower. That's insane. And I'm not being a homer. I'm being honest. And that's crazy.
Take two of those. I don't really know. At this point, you just have to go with your gut. And I'm thinking to myself, Luke Kuechly and Micah Parsons. I think I've got to take those two guys. Kuechly might be the smartest linebacker in history. Micah Parsons might be the greatest Swiss Army knife at middle linebacker that we've ever seen. Kuechly holds the FBS record for tackles per game in a single season with 15.9, almost 16 tackles. It's insane. He did that in 2011. And by the way, he leads the FBS in terms of career tackles per game with 14. He had over 180 tackles in each of his last two seasons, always around the football, always. He's going to get everyone lined up, smartest guy on the field. And then you go to Parsons. I know he only played 2 seasons at Penn State.
He was good, man. I like Micah Parsons. And I called him out. He was
All-American, then a full All-American as a sophomore. And he was playing as a normal linebacker in those days, and he was still dominant. This is one of those, I understand if you have a problem with this. I can't get the current Micah out of my head. Was he this at Penn State? No, they didn't use him like they are now using him in the NFL. And I totally understand that. If you want to come to me and say, no, Roquan Smith deserves to be on this list, I don't have a huge argument against that other than it's Micah Parsons.
I don't care. Dante Hightower he couldn't even, how could you put Taya on the list? Dang, man.
I think you've got to take Micah Parsons, and so I'm going to do that. And Parsons is there with Kuechly in the middle of my defense. Corners. Dude, this list, you start sitting down and thinking about the corners that we've had. Patrick Surtain, if you want to. Derek Stingley, Darrell Revis, Joe Hayden, Jalen Ramsey, Sauce Gardner, D. Milner, Terrence Newman. What? Like, dudes on the outside. Here's my list of 5. Here's my finalists. I'm going to take 2. My finalists are going to be Patrick Peterson at LSU, Terrence Newman at Kansas State, unreal, fastest player I've ever seen on a field. Jalen Ramsey, Florida State, Patrick Surtain at Alabama, and Maurice Claiborne.
Claiborne was a dude.
Only can take 2 though. This is a tough one. This is incredibly tough. Here's what I'm going to go with. Let's start with this. I'm going to take Patrick Peterson right now. He's in. He was going up against guys like A.J. Green and Julio Jones and others in that SEC era. He won the Thorpe and the Bednarik. Patrick Peterson is one of my guys. Okay, so he's in. Now you've got to decide on the other guys, and you look at that, and you're like, okay, Nick Saban was a secondary coach. This guy was probably one of the best, if not the best, that played for Nick Saban. I've got to take Patrick Surtain, don't I? I think I do. 38 straight starts at Bama. He was an All-American, lockdown guy. Right now, he's the best corner in the National Football League, so I'm going to go with Surtain there on the outside. So now I've got Peterson and Surtain. I'm loving my secondary.
What about D? He was an All-American 2012. One of the best cover guys that we had. Drake Kirkpatrick, 2011 National Championship defense, one of the hard-hitting dudes, bring some crap downhill. And then there's a first-round draft pick who also started at secondary for 3 years at Alabama. How could you not have Marlon Hunt? I didn't say they're going to win. You got to have one of those guys on there. I don't. Kool-Aid McKinstry is another one that you could put on there too, but Surtain is a top guy. But Marlon Humphrey, man, D. Milner, and just for you Bama fans out there, here's some inside knowledge. Dijon Lee, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. Dijon Lee is going to be one of these guys, okay? I'm telling you, he is a dude.
Absolutely loving my secondary. All right, now we go with nickelback. Hybrid type players, okay? Because I didn't get some of these guys in the mix, So guys that I didn't mention, and I'm not going to mention even in the safety category, and I wanted to create this nickelback. So here are my finalists at nickelback. Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, Caleb Downs, and Mika Fitzpatrick. Who's saying no to that? I can only take one, though. I can only take one. Honey Badger was a ball hawk, making plays, forced a ton of fumbles. Downs, the smartest player that I've ever covered. Fitzpatrick, Swiss Army knife, who won the Bednarik and the Thorpe Award for Nick Saban. Wanted to take him, but I've got to take the Honey Badger. The Honey Badger was just cut from a different cloth. He had an aura about him when he was out on the field. He was like the college version of Ed Reed. Like he was all over the place, and quarterbacks had to be aware of him. Offensive coordinators had to be aware of him. So Honey Badger's got to be on my defense. I can't have a defense for an all-century team and not take Honey Badger.
You got to have Mika.
Just waiting for him to do something, right?
Clinton Dix.
Outstanding. All right, now the safeties.
You know, were your safeties here?
This list is insane. How about guys like Ed Reed, Roy Williams, Sean Taylor, Eric?
Ed Reed wins. You don't need to say anybody else.
Barry, Troy Polamalu, Kyle Hamilton, Derwin James. I mean, there have been some
as far as for safeties, the top 5 safeties I could think about, just right off the top of my head. I got to throw in these. Mark Barron and Landon Collins, man. From 2008 to 2014, those two guys, unanimous All-Americans, national championships all over them, SEC champs, first team defensive All-Americans. I mean, you can mention, Clinton Dix or, McKinney for, whatever. And Mika, I mean, he mentioned him, All-American, 2-time national champion, won the Big Derrick, and he won the Big Derrick and the Thorpe Award. Mika did. But safety, dude, Mark Barron and Landon Collins are it.
Absolute monsters. Here are my finalists, though. Here are my 5 finalists. I'm taking 2. Sean Taylor, Miami. Troy Polamalu, USC. The Rolling.
No. You're basing – and I love watching Troy play. I watched him play at USC. He was great. Roy Williams is not better. Eric Berry's a freak. He's on my list. Okay, whatever. Mika Fitzpatrick is not in your – Mika Fitzpatrick's going in over Roy Williams. Sean Taylor and Ed Reed are to cancel each other out because, I mean, god dang, man, they're like Michael Jordan. They don't even like their skills as football as men. It's just it wasn't even fair. Those two guys are absolute dogs. Polamalu, his IQ was so high for football, man. He knew what was going on. He knew the play before the quarterback did. So I'm canceling Ed Reed. I just can't take. God, I love watching Eric Berry play. I think he played some offense too. I'm pretty sure there was some time that Eric played offense. Like they put him in at receiver. I don't remember something. There's no way. I don't care what Roy Williams stats, dude. I'm just telling you, Mika Fitzpatrick, All-American, Bednarik and Thorpe Award winner, and he's not on your list? Come on, dog.
All of butcher knives. Ed Reed, of course, he's in there. Roy Williams.
Ed Reed shouldn't even be on the list. Like he's automatic. Like he's going to start and play. You just decide who you want to rotate in and out. And if you want to play too high, you get Ed and Sean, and then you just find 2 others that's going to rotate in behind him. And I'll take Eric Berry and I'll take Mika Fitzpatrick. I don't know. I just couldn't take. I don't know if dude, Landon Collins was good, man. Mark Barron was great. But Mika, I'm just not putting Roy or Troy in over Mika. I'm sorry. I'm just me.
Williams and Eric Berry. That finalist list is wild. Wild. Now, I do find it a little.
But that's where a little bit of that Bama hate comes in. You can't, how can you not have Mika Fitzpatrick? I don't care if you're a freaking Tennessee fan. You got to have Mika Fitzpatrick at least on here. He's got to be one of the 4. Come on.
All of those guys played in the pre-targeting era, right? Like, don't you love the old safeties, the physical old safeties that could just absolutely knock people's heads off? I love that. Sean Taylor was 6'3", 220 pounds.
He was great.
Unreal athlete. Unreal. Roy Williams won a national championship in 2000. He won the Nagurski and the Thorpe Award the next year.
Yeah.
The iconic Superman play against Texas. I think that was Chris Sims in there. Eric Berry had 14 interceptions in his career at Tennessee.
Crazy.
He was so good.
I love Eric Berry.
But
He was great.
Guys.
You got to have Mika.
It's Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu. Right?
No. Sean Taylor.
Like, I know you can make an argument for Sean Taylor. I get it. But Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed as your safeties.
Well, it's not like it's bad.
Nickel. No one's scoring against this team. Reed, 2-time All-American, led Miami to that 0-1 title. He was insane. Polamalu, I got to see him play in college before anyone ever knew who Polamalu was, before he had the hair or anything like that.
Yeah.
Their breakout.
I like him. I'm not saying he's bad.
It was Pete's second year. Carson would go on to win the Heisman Trophy. They came to Colorado. I was a true freshman. This was like the second game that I ever suited up for in college football. And USC ended up beating us in Folsom Field. And there was this guy at safety. And he was
his knowledge of the game. Troy had this Nick Saban like understanding of football or something at a young age. He just did. But, I'll tell you something that Saban said that Rashad Johnson, and I know we're talking about different positions, but Saban said that Rashad was one of the smartest, his DB groups that he ever coached, and he would love for him to get back in and to coach. He said this before he retired. He was on that level with Troy, just the football IQ.
He was making every tackle. Number 43. And we kept stopping the tape and backing.
And he had a great NFL career too. And he's a super nice guy.
It up, and I was like, who is this guy? And they were like, I don't know. We can't pronounce his name. He ends up being Troy Polamalu.
Bang.
Insane player. And Ed Reed. Ed Reed was.
Say he tackled and rolled there.
You can't have an all-century team without Ed Reed.
No, of course not.
And then Polamalu is on that team as well.
Mika's got to be on there, man. He had to be on the list. Him and Eric Berry, you don't win the award and the Thorpe Award and not be something. And you could even make the list. You won. Come on, man.
There it is. There's the all-century team. I hope you enjoy it. I don't know if you're going to budge me off a lot of those picks. I just don't. You can try. Please leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to the program on YouTube. That would be awesome. If you're just listening to this, wherever you get your podcasts, you can rate and review us. That always helps us. And then follow us on social media. We are wherever you like to social media. You can follow us at.
All right. Okay, let's see here. What was the other? Let's see. Joel had one that was just like some, see, where did that go? Where'd he go? Good Lord. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so what do y'all think about the list there? Here it is. Here's a good question. We can play the fun game here. The what if.
It was a national title, and I really believed this team was going to go and win it. What if Colt McCoy is never injured?
Yeah, what if Colt McCoy would have never got hurt?
Now, Mark Ingram hates this. I brought this up to Mark Ingram because he's like, we were fine. Our whole game plan, we were going to get after him, and that was our game plan. We didn't think he could handle the beating that we would give them.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's totally fair. But that was a really good Texas team.
Hang on here. Eric Berry, what up, Jeff? Eric Berry, let me tell you exactly because I'll get it wrong. It was in the 90s. Yes. Early 2000, it was mid 2000, like 03, 4, 5. No, okay, 7 to 9. I thought it was like 3, 4, 5. Guys, just you can just hit a highlight when you get bored one day. Just type in Eric Berry highlight reels. Holy crap, moly, freak! He was so fun to watch. Man, what a freaking athlete he was. So, question here is, what if be playing against Rivers on Saturday? Okay, that's cool. So, what if Colt don't get hurt? And he said he brought up this question to Mark Ingram, and he said the same thing, what I said the other day. It's hard to say, but it's just a game we're playing. I seen this on there, and I thought it was fun. So,
and win it. What if Colt McCoy is never injured in the national championship game against Bama? Now, Mark Ingram hates this. I brought this up to Mark Ingram because he's like, we were fine. Our whole game plan, we were going to get after him, and that was our game plan. We didn't think he could handle the beating that we would give them. That's fair. That's totally fair. But that was a really good Texas team. They had been great the year before, held out of the national championship game because of that BCS tiebreaker that I was just talking about earlier. They were 11-1. Then they come into that next year and they are rolling, man. And Jordan Shipley and Colt McCoy, and they go in there and they're running right down the field. And then bam, Colt McCoy leaves with an injury. Now, they ended up playing decent, but Bama was able to just play conservatively, run the football. Ingram was fantastic in that game, and Nick Saban got his first national championship at Alabama. What happens if Mac Brown wins it with Colt McCoy in that year? Like, does Bama still go on their run? What happens in recruiting after that? That's a great what if from a game that I'm thinking about since 2000. Colt was so good. I love Colt. He was one of my favorite players that I ever covered or watched. What's up, Klatt Show fans? I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for the.
I tell you what, did you notice that?
I love uniform.
Did you notice that in the game, they brought Colt out of the game, and he said, after the game, he said, if we can find the video, I'll show it to you. He said, if this was my team, I wouldn't have come out. Let me find that. Here it is, right here. Check this out. I think this is very interesting what he said, and I'll never forget what he said. And I was like, oh, snap. Watch this right here. Just listen and read between the lines. This is after the championship game, 2010. Listen to what he says.
Colt, what was it like for you to watch this game, your last game in a Longhorn uniform from the sideline?
I love this game. I have a passion for this game. I've done everything I can to contribute to my team, and we made it this far. And it's unfortunate I didn't get to play. I would have given. I'd have given everything I had to be out there with my team. But congratulations.
Wait a minute. What is that?
I had to be out there with my team, but
my team. I have given everything I had to be out there with my team. Because let me tell you what happened. What happened on the whole deal, you know what happened. And me being a parent, I'm going to tell you what happened. He gets hurt. He goes back in the locker room, and his dad says, "You're done." But Dad, I want to go finish the game up, man. It's a national championship game. I want to go out here and finish up. And his dad says, "Well, you're done because you've already got a contract to go play pro football. That's what's up." And Mac Brown standing right there beside him says, "Well, son, Mac, we got to dip go. Well, son, unfortunately, this is my team, and I'm telling you that you're done. Because he couldn't feel his fingers. He couldn't play. So the adults in the room had to make a decision. And Cole's a player, man. These kids grew up playing football all his life. Of course he wanted to play the game. And his dad said, you're done. And, he paused for a while and he's looking around like, I'd give anything to go out there and finish, this game. I'd give everything I could for this team because that's what his daddy was telling him, in the locker room while he's hurt. Son, you give everything this team. You help get them here to this point. You're hurting. You can't even feel your fingers. You can't go out there. You can't throw the ball. And Max says, well, I have to make a decision for you, and this is my team. And I'm saying that, you're done. We're going to put in Gilbert. And no boy did okay. Eric Andrews come around a blindside blitz and hit old Gilbert in the back. Boom. Ball comes out of his hand, fumbles the ball. Eric Berry hit him in the back. And that changed. That was it. That was a game changer. But I thought that was interesting. I want to share that with you.
Forms. Now, I'm going to show my age a little bit here because most younger people, and now I'm not young, which is a little bit hard. I'm 44, but I'm realizing like I'm definitely middle-aged. And there are moments now I'm not proud of when I let that old man creep in and I start screaming at clouds. I mean, it's just true. It happens to all of us. I try really hard not to let that happen, but it happens. It happens. I am a traditionalist when it comes to uniforms. I love the classics.
Yeah,
maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that like I harken back to when I fell in love with this sport. I can remember I have a brother who's 6 years older than me. His name's Jason. My dad, Gary, was a high school football coach. And my favorite memories as a kid were sitting in our basement in Arvada, Colorado, and watching college football. Now, remember, I was born in 1982, so my formative years are right when Colorado was great, 88, 89, 90. They win a national title in 1990, and so I'm watching Colorado play. That's one of my favorite uniforms, the old school home Colorado uniform. But the uniforms that I would see on television, like those are the ones that I go back to and I'm like, yes, that looks and feels like college football. I know that the young guys, and in particular guys that play now, love the new unis. They love what do they call them now? The alternates. I don't even does Oregon even have an actual home and away uniform? I don't think they do. They just have like uniforms, plural, like 8 of them. So here are my favorites, though. Here are my favorites. Alabama. What a classic uniform.
Okay. Now, I seen this earlier, so I got to pass this little question by to everybody. Is there this is for anybody can comment on it. I don't agree. I don't. Bama would have beaten them whether Colt played or not because they were going to make a drive and score in the game, but you're trying to make an outcome, prediction. And based on what I knew and how I seen Nebraska play Texas and how Alabama had number 1 defense, yeah, they would have drove down and scored, but I don't see Texas because they weren't really kind of losing the game off their tackles, getting their butts whooped by our ends and blitzes from safeties like, Eric Andrews. That's what changed the game. I don't think it was that big a deal. But the uniforms, there's been some rumbles and rumors that Bama may bring back, and some people don't know this. Some people don't know that they wore the white jerseys back in the day. Wearing the white jerseys back in the day was a real thing. So would any football fans, I mean, this question's for everybody, especially for Bama fans, I would love to see those white helmets back. Zach don't want them back. I like it. We only wore them for like 67 and 8, something like that. It was only for like a year or two. I like them. Just wear them. Just wear them at home. Just wear a white helmet at home. You can keep I'm just saying, we got on the white jerseys, wear the white helmet. If you wear the red jerseys, wear the red helmet. I like that.
Number on the helmet, the history, the tradition. I love the Alabama uniform. Now, I'm partial to their home uniform. I like both, but I'm partial to their home uniform. You give me Bama at home in a big game, that's a great uniform. I love that one. What's another one? USC at home, absolutely. Now, I didn't love when they went with the metallic face mask. I was like, come on, man. Like, this is classic. Just go with the classic. I love USC's home.
And I'm going to tell you another uniform that I like. And this just, I'm just being honest. I'm not a homer for Alabama. I like the game of football. And I'm trying to hold on. And this is what this show is. We're trying to just go back and watch some old cool games and talk about some old players, because the game's changing a lot as we know it. And I'm trying to stay in love with it, because the way it's going, man, it's just a lot of people are falling out of love with it because money's just become so big in it. So let's talk about this stuff, and make it fun again. But there's a jersey out there that some people may not. I don't care. That white Auburn jersey, the Stormtrooper with the orange mask, that's freaking cool, man. I like it.
Uniform. I think it's iconic. In fact,
I bet he don't put it on here.
They came into Boulder. Granted, it wasn't their home uniform. But my first year in college football, I was just a walk-on. I was a true freshman after playing baseball. And USC came into town. That was Carson Palmer's year. This is 2003. Troy Polamalu was a safety. And they brought their pep band. So it wasn't their full band, but they brought their band. And I remember watching them play. This is early Pete Carroll days. And Troy Polamalu was incredible. Carson Palmer was incredible. But the uniforms, man, I was just like, oh, those uniforms are absolutely epic. I love Notre Dame's uniforms. You give me the gold helmet, man. And I've gotten fortunate enough to be able to call a few Notre Dame games when they've been on the road, in particular at Big Ten opponents. I believe one in Soldier Field in Chicago, we called them against Wisconsin. I did a Notre Dame game. I believe it was up in
they're always going to be on there. The gold dome. And they've changed it. I think they put some more sparkle in it or something. It's not the same helmet they wore even 10 years ago. It's a little different.
Dancing against Michigan State, man.
I think, didn't they go with some foil? Yeah, see the letters on their shoulders. They want some gold foil shoulder lettering.
I hear "Wake Up the Echoes." Woo! You give me a fight.
Did they do a black jersey with green letters? Did they? Or is that something I made on inside the EA Sport game? I don't know.
And that uniform with the gold helmet, I'm in. I'm absolutely in. Don't tell Brady Quinn, but I love those uniforms. Penn State, you bet, man. Give me a.
Now they're freaking helmets. It's just white, and it's always white, and it's been white.
Penn State all day long. I'm partial to two-toned uniforms.
Penn State and Bama has zero helmet change. I mean, zero. Now their jerseys have changed a little here and there, because I know Bama those years when probably 7, 8, 9 years ago we were going to games. They had houndstooth around the collar, and you couldn't really see it, but I remember in the collar where it met, I think it had the Nike logo, and it's kind of like a little home plate looking design. The Penn State and Bama's helmets are absolute zero change.
You haven't figured that out, by the way. I don't like a third color on uniforms. I don't think it looks great. You give me a 2-color uniform, and I'm probably in. Again, I'm an old guy. But Penn State's home uniforms are amazing. By the way, great home environment as well. Tradition, everything. It's epic. Here's one that is a little bit new age, but in a throwback sense. And you're probably going to have to either Google this or we'll throw an image up here if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully. The Mighty Oregon throwback. So they wear this now currently, but it's kind of a throwback. It's a modern twist to an old look Oregon uniform. The Mighty Oregon throwback is.
I would put those uniforms on them when I play on NCAA.
Is spectacular. I mean, spectacular. I'm in. I'm absolutely in. I will say this about Oregon's uniform. Everyone says Oregon's got the best uniforms. Old man yelling at the clouds. I get it. But I did not love when Oregon played Ohio State for a national championship and all they were in was white and silver and I think some black. And it's I couldn't turn on. If you just dropped me from Mars and I had been let's say I took Elon's rocket up to Mars and then I come back after a few years and you're telling me oh, hey, here's the national championship game. And I didn't know what was going on with uniforms. I couldn't have told you it was Oregon playing Ohio State. They looked too different. I would have been well, is there green? That's Oregon? What do you mean that's Oregon? It's white and silver. It doesn't. It looks like the Raiders. I didn't love that. But the Mighty Oregon throwback, I'm in. I'm in on that. My best uniform ever, though. And it does pain me because, truth be told, the last game I ever played was against this uniform, the all-white Texas road uniform. Oh, cleanest thing I've ever seen. Cleanest thing I've ever seen. And intimidating. I mean, they all look faster. The white helmets with the white face mask. The Texas road whites are the best uniform in college football, period.
Yeah. No, come on, Joel.
Hillary, I hope you agree. I'm sure you probably like one of the Michigan uniforms. I like those as well, but they didn't make my list right there. All right, Paul writes in. He says, hey, Joel, I know you played baseball as well as football. I was wondering if you ever called baseball games. Are there any other sports or events that you would like to call someday? Good question. I actually did call some baseball way back in the day, the Big 12. Man, give me a Penn State all day long, and I'm probably in. That is a little bit new. So they wear this now currently. Spectacular. Everyone says like, oh, and all they were,
where is this?
Like, oh, hey, here's the national championship game. And I didn't know what was going on with like uniforms. I couldn't have told you it was Oregon playing Ohio State. They looked too different. I would have been like, well, is there green? That's Oregon? What do you mean that's Oregon? It's white and silver. It doesn't. It looks like the Raiders. I didn't.
So what do you think about I would love to see Bama in those, in the white helmets. That would really be cool. Let's see. Any other thing else looks interesting to y'all? Top quarterbacks, favorite over/under wins, college football stock watch. I've seen something on here with. Okay. All right, we'll get off here and everything. And I just wanted to just come on here and share, and go through some old videos, and we had to talk about Cam Newton's video with the with the kid on there. The two boys tackling each other, in the living room, is it making men, of the boys tackling each other. And of course, the home run derby, shout out, Mr. Walker for smoking that thing. He had to come back and hit 4 straight home runs. It was a home run. Baseball needed that to prop up some baseball, and I get to wear my St. Louis hat anyway also. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I like the Cam Newton talking about the boys, tackling each other in the living room, and what it's, like raising men. And we're supposed to be, like Cam said, protectors of women and, honest, God-fearing men. And those things are still has to be key in what you're going to do to raise good young men. So MLB All-Star games. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll maybe watch a little bit of that. So, but yeah, no, the last part there, the uniforms, guys, and y'all know, I pull for Bama in the Auburn game for sure. Always. But man, those stormtrooper helmets, man, that white helmet and that orange face mask, I like it. I like it a lot. So, yeah, I had a blast. Zach kind of just come in here and just relax for the day. I've been up since about 5 this morning, had a pretty slow day at work, not a whole lot going on. Got a slow day tomorrow. Thursday, probably a little while, but I'm off all weekend. So, probably come back on Thursday. We may do this again. Throw some videos. Go on the Facebook page over there, Locker Room Sports, and, type in some stuff, share some videos. Say, hey, let's react to this video. Let's see your reaction to this. Throw something on there. Give me some ideas. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate everybody. And y'all have a great evening. Keep your heads clear and your hearts full of God. As always, love all you guys for being on here. And we'll see you in a couple of days. All right. Peace out.